There has traditionally been a separation between oral language development versus reading and writing development, but more and more as time goes on, there is becoming increasing research to show that oral language development lays the foundation for reading and writing skills, and that those things aren't as independent as we once thought. A solid foundation in oral language will help children become successful readers and communicators. We often see that oral language development is missing from reading and writing programs, which focus more on things like phonics and reading comprehension. But at the end of the day, speaking and listening lead the way for reading and writing, and repeated exposure to rich language is the number one way that we can help children become successful communicators, readers, and writers. I am a math teacher, which at surface sounds like it might not be super language or reading and writing related, but these are 5 ways that I've tried to integrate oral language into my classroom. The first one is that I have a math word wall that shows all the key terms we've discussed along with the visual interpretation of those terms. And when they're introduced, I make sure to properly pronounce them for the kids, and I normally have them repeat them back to me. So that gives them oral exposure in a math context. I also have a math in action wall that shows various math applications in real life, and I often ask kids to take a look at the wall after our lessons and decide which ones might be related to the current activity for that day. I always begin my class with an open-ended warm-up that basically has no wrong answers. It's just open for interpretation. And I always spin a wheel at random and ask kids to share their responses aloud. And there's no fear of rejection because there's no wrong answers. Whenever I'm working on a word problem in class, I read the problem aloud or ask a student to read it for me to make sure that there's a connection between words and spoken words, or words on paper and spoken words. I emphasize key vocabulary terms and have kids read them back to me for pronunciation and conceptual understanding. I try to utilize at least one math language routine per day to encourage students to speak to one another in math terms. This could be things like a think, pair, share, information gaps, anything to stimulate conversation between the kids in a math-related context. I stock my classroom with various stories and articles about math, including current events, and I often read them to them on Fridays or have a student read them aloud. This allows them to practice their oral language development and also to develop a familiarity with math in the real world. And I'm constantly spinning a random wheel and asking students to share their responses and work out problems on the board and encouraging dialogue between kids. This just stimulates a lot of interesting conversation and broadens their horizons and allows them to practice speaking at the same time and listening. And then often I'll have them work on skills like summarizing and highlighting key terms at the same time.